So I have a feeling that this one's going to be a little bit shorter, like the last one. Um, One thing is I'm kind of tired because I have to wake up at 6:30 every day now. And second one is not a whole lot happened. I mean, I went to Kyoto for the weekend, which was cool, but that's basically all I'm going to talk about. So yeah, starting off, Friday rolls around, going straight from school to Tokyo Station. I took the Shinkansen both there and back, and they do not lie about how fast that thing is. It's really nice. It probably took a 3 to 4 hour train ride and cut it down to like an hour and a half, and I can say only great things about it. It's very comfortable. They got nice, relaxing seats that I wish were on plane flights. You can like lean back extra. You got probably 3-4 feet of leg space. It's amazing. A little expensive though, and by that I mean pretty expensive, like $110 for a one-way ticket. Not cheap. But yeah, got to see some cool little passing sights of what I'm pretty sure is Mount Fuji, but might not be. Got some nice pics of that. You can see how fast we're going by, like, everything is tilted in a direction if it's very close up. Yeah, that was cool. From there, I got off the Shinkansen, got to where my hostel was, and basically dropped off my stuff, and then went immediately from there to get food, and I got sushi for the night, and that was, I'd say it's a little expensive, probably about a 6.5, 7-ish. It was good. Probably the best thing was the fatty salmon, but the best thing about that was I found out that based on friends' recommendations, I tried hot sake, and that is the way to drink sake, in my opinion. It kind of mellows out the sake and allows you to not be overcome by the flavor of it. So yeah, I went from there and walked around a little bit, and there's this river running through part of Kyoto, at least the part I was in, and basically everyone that night was just down by the river. There was someone playing on a guitar, so I went down by the river, and sat there for a couple minutes, then decided, yeah, I'm bored here, so I'll turn around and talk to the people behind me. So I talked to these people who were international students from, like, France, and can't remember, some very small European country that I can't remember the name of, that's by Greece, kind of. And then, yeah, just a bunch of international students at Kyoto University. And then I eventually called it a night because I was afraid I was going to miss my train, because it was like 11, 12-ish, and I would rather not have to walk back to my hostel. Woke up the next day, and went to a onsen that is by far my favorite onsen that I've been to. I went to it both days that I was in Kyoto. It's this onsen called Tensen no Yu Onsen, and the address is, I guess, in the description. Yeah, if you're ever in Kyoto, I very much recommend it. They have these, it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion, based on the two onsens that I've been to. It takes the like, multiple bath styles and mixes it with, they had special, like, actual natural mineral water from, they dug like 1.5 kilometers down to get mineral water that was good for your body, and so they had some of those pools, and those pools were awesome. I found out that if you take the water and, like, kind of underwater fan yourself, you could feel like everything wash over you. It was really cool. Yeah, I loved that. I tried out where you can get the coffee milk, which is really great after an onsen. I tried out having fruit milk, which tasted like Pog, which if you've never heard of it is like passion orange guava, I believe it. Yeah, it tasted a lot like that. Kind of meh right after onsen, so I just immediately went back to coffee milk. And coffee milk basically tastes like a good latte. From there, I went to Osaka for like 2 or 3 short hours, and that was an interesting thing. I visited another house that is... So the company who runs the house that I'm staying in right here, the Warabi house, I believe they made one in Osaka that just renovated, but I know that Yuto was there for a couple days because I met him there when they were having... I forget the name of it. It's the type of somen that you get when you... It's like a summer tradition where they get bamboo, they put water in it, and they send noodles down, and everyone gets chopsticks and, like, takes out stuff. And that was really cool. There's a video of it right here for illustration purposes.
海星高校の
周辺
そうあれなんか2年3年前ぐらいにカンボジア旅行行った時に
あ、ほのかさんと行って
そうそうそうそう
They did salmon, and then they also did spaghetti, which was really cool. And I just basically just talked to everyone who was at this house, and we did like self-introductions and all that stuff. I'm terrible at those, especially in Japanese. But yeah, from there I wanted to leave a little early because I had basically 1.5 days in Kyoto. So I went from there to a place called Nansenji, which is a otera, which in English is like a Buddhist temple. And wow, that thing's big. Apparently not the biggest, but it's huge. It's got this, I want to call it a Sansen gate, I believe is what it's called. And it's basically the mark of a Buddhist temple. And this thing's huge. It's got like, one of the pillars is larger than me in terms of width. Like, my outstretched arms probably are like the whole diameter of the pillar. And very impressive in size, I gotta say. But I had read online that there was this pathway that you could go to find this really nice and peaceful grotto place. So I go through the main part, and it says, go through the aqueduct. And I'm like, what the fuck, there's an aqueduct? This isn't goddamn Rome or any of that shit. But yeah, I keep walking, and there's a brick aqueduct. And I got a nice picture of these girls in yukatas were just standing underneath all the like arches inside the aqueduct. So I got a cool picture of that, I think. So I went from there, went up the steps, and these steps are, it's like, it felt like a journey almost, which I think is the purpose of it, but it was very tranquil, and there was a stream going by, and so it was probably a time meant to be spent thinking about life and the journey and everything, but I don't know what I was thinking about. Definitely not life, the journey, and everything. I kind of wish I had done more of that. But I got to the point where, looking on it now, was probably the grotto that I was looking for. It was supposed to be up above this waterfall that was flowing down into all these either shrines or memorial places. And so I go up there, and I'm like, this doesn't really seem like a grotto. I always think of like a grotto as having a pond or something with small trees around it and a bunch of foliage. And so I thought I should just keep going. So I go from there, And I spent probably 30 minutes walking, and I keep walking, and I'm in, like, the worst shirt for this. It's very light blue, and it's the middle of Kyoto summer, so it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit, super humid, and I'm hiking up a fucking mountain. So, by the end of the time I get up, and realize, oh, I've gone the completely wrong way. I'm just drenched in sweat. So I take off my shirt and decide to head back down. And I ended up finding this really nice and peaceful little pond that I would say is more of a grotto, because it had like a stream flowing into it. It was very relaxing. The only non-relaxing part of it is because it was still water, and I frickin' knew it was gonna happen. There were mosquitoes everywhere. Because if you don't know, mosquitoes lay their eggs in still water, and that's bad things happen. So, yeah, had to deal with that as I was listening to, like, toads croak and stuff like that, which was awesome. It sounded like it was... If you've ever played Ocarina of Time and got to the thing with the frogs on a log and you're supposed to, like, tell them how to croak, it basically sounded like that. It was so cool. But as I'm listening to this, I'm going, don't bite me. Ugh. Didn't do anything. I am not as good with hand-eye coordination as I thought, because I got destroyed. Going back down the mountain, this was already at 5 and everything closed at 5, so I kind of missed out on everything that Nasenji had to offer, which is so sad for me, because basically the huge part of Nasenji, the main part, was cool, and I got to see that plenty. It was massive, dignifying, and it was exactly what you would expect to be for a religious building that has history and architecture to it. But there were also, like, mini shoot-off temples that were associated with it, and apparently those are amazing as well, but all closed at 5, so I kind of got screwed. So I get back down, and I'm fully down, 5:10. Wonderful. So from there, I go back, get to the hotel, and I decide, I'll go out to eat. And Karin-san had sent me a list of all these recommendations for food, and I picked one called yakiniku. It serves yakiniku, rather. And boy, am I glad that I picked that. It was so good. Yakiniku is basically, they set up a gas-lit personal grill in front of you at the tables, and you order raw meat, and you cook it yourself on the grill, I guess. Oh, they gave you basically a choice between salt or Korean barbecue sauce. Amazing. So, first one I think I had beef choice. I had that salted, and I was like, damn, that's good. So then I went from there, and I got a little bit more exotic, and I had beef tongue with the hot sauce. That was amazing. So I went from that, and I did beef cheek, and all of it tasted amazing. I'm so well worth $35. But going from there, I walked a little bit till I got to another recommendation by Karin, which was the Zaza's Bar. Basically a bar for locals that go in, order a beer. So yeah, sat on the balcony, looking at the stream passing by and kind of people watching. And then this nice Australian dude named Dylan came by, and I just started talking to him, and we conversed about, like, Australia and how that works, all the terrible, terrible things that will kill you in Australia, and this dude's starting his, like, working holiday, so he's taking 8 months off to just travel around the world, which sounds amazing. It was like his first week or two, and he's spending in Japan, and then he's going to basically doing the Silk Road. He's going to like China, I think China, and then maybe Thailand, and then he's going Mongolia, and then over to Russia, up into Europe, and that sounds awesome. But yeah, I hung out with him for the rest of the night, went back to the hostel, and woke up at 6:30 to get a start on the next day because I had to leave at 2. So I go from there. Early Sunday, I go to Fushimi Inari Shrine, which is the end-all be-all of Kyoto, like, religious places, basically. It's that, and Kinkaku-ji, which is the golden Buddhist temple, which I unfortunately didn't get to see. So I go there to Fushimi Inari, and this place is huge. It's the largest shrine I've ever seen. It's amazing. And you go, and there are more cool kitsune, and they have this thing that looks like a dog. But if you ever see it, it's not a dog. It's supposedly a lion. But because they could only get, like, lion skins and tellings about what lions look like, they thought they were more like dogs when they first made them. And then the tradition just kept up going. Yeah. So, at the start, there are some big torii gates, and they're very impressive. And you just keep going, keep going, keep going. You pass through a huge, like, purifying well thing where you take the paddles and do all that. There were probably 40 or so paddles for it. Go on through, give your offerings, say your prayers, go off to the side, and then you start your trek up the shrine path. And the reason this place is known is because as you're going up the path of the hill, every basic path has torii gates just going all through it. They make basically a torii gate tunnel, and it's awesome to look at. Very, very packed, because it's, like I said, it's probably one of the most well-known places in Kyoto. So, walk up there, visit one of the larger ones on the hill, and go from there, try and go around, and I found a shrine that didn't seem like it was visited much, and so went up the hill again, and pictures, because everyone takes pictures inside. You gotta take the pictures. And then I came back down the hill. They had nice little koi streams going along it. Always nice. Go around, there's a little... They had holy patties, which were holy rice patties. I thought that was kind of hilarious, but maybe I'm just not cultured. Probably so. Saw that. So I went then back to the onsen, and again, amazing. From there, I went to Nijo Castle, which is... It's the place where initially the shogun, Tokugawa Ieyasu, like, built. And he was the shogun right after the Warring States period, in the 1600s. And this was when he came to visit the emperor. And if you don't know, shogun is the military leader, emperor is the religious leader, I believe. And so the shogun had all the power. The emperor just had religious power. Ieyasu comes to the Nijo Castle in order to visit the emperor on very special occasions, like probably once every couple of years or so. But the cool part of it is it's It's a World Heritage Site, which is cool. You always want to visit those. It's got a moat, which is fucking cool. First actual, like, moat with water in it that I've ever seen. Really not that bad in terms of tickets. It was like a $5 ticket. I will take that any day of the week. You go through, and you first pass through these very like beautiful gates with intricately detailed golden leaf on all the parts of it, and it's very interesting to look at from just like, holy cow, the craftsmanship kind of aspect of it. But you go through there and you get into the, I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically the house that the castle and I walked in there, and I had been told that these were a thing. I had never experienced them yet. They're called nightingale boards. Basically boards that the story is they install them so that they can hear noises of people walking, but it seems like it might just be a luck of the draw kind of thing because the nails were being pressed down into metal in the boards, so it made, when you walk on it, it makes very, like, squeaky bird noises, which is why it's called nightingale boards. So you walk in, and immediately you hear the squeaking of the nightingale boards. And after that, you look on the sliding doors of the walls, and it's this beautiful, amazing, like, I don't know if it was golden leaf painting or if it was just paint done in gold, but it's astounding. Through there, you get pictures of, like, oh, there's trees, there's tigers and cheetahs and bears, oh my. But I probably messed up because I think I actually wasn't supposed to take pictures. That's my bad. I actually feel very bad about that. Go through there, and it was very interesting to see you could tell that it was a palace, basically, because everything was adorned, all the ceilings were beautiful. Then you get to the meeting rooms, and the meeting rooms are the coolest part, because you have the first level, which has the shogun in it, and he's sitting in the middle, and in it, above him, the ceiling has, like, tiles, and then right where he's sitting, there is higher tiles to denote that this is where the person who's important is sitting. And then that's a level, and then you go, and there's like a 1 foot drop off, and that's where everyone who's like a vassal or just someone who's meeting him for the day or in the meeting is sat. Yeah, so this place had like 3 or 4 meeting rooms. It was kind of awesome. Get through there, walk, and so Nijo Castle has the actual castle itself, and then they also kind of expand it to behind it, where I believe another castle was. Go from the bridge between those two is this very tranquil and natural, like, grass and water-based park. We didn't get to walk in it because I think it was too good for us commoners, but they probably just didn't want people trampling over the serene beauty of this lawn, basically. And it was, I wish I could have walked through it. It looked like something that I could walk through and be lost in for hours just pacing around. Walk from there, get to the other side, crossing a bridge, and there's these koi in the moat. Walk through there, see another castle. Couldn't go in that one. But the cool part was, it had the base of this huge tower that had burned down. And apparently this was the only tower that the emperor had ever gone in of its type, or something like that. but it burned down because of lightning strike. They have the base still, and you walk up all the steps, huge steps, probably 1.5 feet in height, so it was actually kind of hard to step up them. But you get up to the top, and it's this hot day, and everyone's dying, and you're fanning yourself to stay alive, and you get up, and there's this, oh, so satisfying of a breeze. And you look, and it's the mountains in the background, the green of the trees, and then the castle. And that is a great picture. That is a picture that stays in your mind. From there, I basically just walked through the rest of the castle. I'd say, actually, this is my favorite. I definitely would like to go back, though. So yeah, let's go to my all thoughts of Kyoto. Kyoto as a city, amazing. I think it, to me, has more of a American city feel in terms of like spaciousness, and it just doesn't seem as busy and crowded as Tokyo. Yeah, it felt very open. Everything was very open, and the bar districts were cool. It had cool nightlife. It had great food, and the history behind it. I just wanted to go and explore more of it, but that was the main problem for this trip. I fucked up in terms of both planning the Shinkansen and just planning the trip overall. I did the Shinkansen for returning at 2 p.m. That is not enough time for me to do anything in the day, so I had to wake up super early to get anything done. But I also tried to do probably 5 days worth of stuff in 1.5 days. And that is the worst idea I've ever done. By the end of that, I was like, fuck this. I'm not taking any pictures. I'm not doing anything. I'm just, I can't do this. And that's all on me. I fucked it up. And that's what makes the Kyoto trip in my mind worse. Like, it was still probably about a 7. Still very good. On everything that I've gone to, the potential for it is a 9. So that really is the point. I can see so much potential in it. I just fucked up. I tried to go to Nasenji, Nijo Castle, Fushinari Shrine, Kinkakuji, and a bunch of other places, all in a day and a half. And I need way more than that to actually explore. And now that I've actually started planning out an actual itinerary for a trip, I now know what I can and can't do. And that's what you gotta do, you gotta learn. So I really hope that I can get back to Kyoto someday, because I'd much rather spend a week there and really just adventure around the places I've been, find new amazing places. I just explore. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go to bed because I'm still tired. Good night, and I love you. Bye.